champion Panthers lead the series 2-1. The Knicks keep running into roadblocks in their head coaching search. They've asked to speak to 5 coaches around the league and have been turned down all 5 times. The latest, Jason Kidd from Dallas and Billy Donovan from Chicago. NBA Finals, the Pacers beat the Thunder 116-107 to go up 2-1 in the best of 7. Tyrese Halliburton just missed a triple-double. He had 22 points, 11 assists, and 9 rebounds in the win. Benedict Mathurin had 27 points off the bench. Pascal Siakam had 21 points for Indiana, which hasn't lost back-to-back games in 3 months. Jalen Williams had 26 points for Oklahoma City in the loss. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander added 24. Chet Holmgren had 20. Game 4 in Indiana on Friday night. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code MAP to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code MAP for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code MAP for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
You don't have to sink a 30-footer from the end of your driveway to come out of the NBA playoffs smelling like a rose. SportsGrid brings you all the angles, insights, and odds.
And more to make you a winner.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The only place in football where the offense is always on the field is on Moneyline. With the 2 best hosts in radio, Donnie Rightside.
If anybody wasn't watching, let's not know what you were doing.
And Kevin Walsh.
Act like you've been there before.
On the SportsGrid Radio Network, SiriusXM Channel 159.
Oh, it's a Friday, people. The best hour every day now officially underway. And away we go. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Kevin Walsh. And look, Friday shows sometimes like, ooh, let's ease into the weekend. It's a Father's Day weekend. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But you had an unbelievable hockey game on again last night that ended in overtime. You have game 4 of the NBA Finals tonight with the Pacers with a 2-1 lead here. You have the U.S. Open that's giving some carnage out there right now and a ton of Major League Baseball to get to. Laid low, Kevin, on the card yesterday, Major League Baseball. We won't be doing that tonight. There are some really good spots to attack. I feel like we got some juice on this show today.
Yeah, listen, how to show up here for the people. We do have an NBA Finals game, as you mentioned. We had our 3rd overtime game in the Stanley Cup Final, which is just outrageous. I jumped on Florida, Donnie, heading into the overtime period.
Wow.
At minus 120. I thought, no way Edmonton gets off of the mat after allowing that goal. The fact that it was now going to be 3-1.
Yep.
And they switched goalies, right, too, in the middle of that game. Leon gets it done, and last I looked, Leon now in front of Connor McDavid for the consummate.
Oh, he is now. He must have shifted then. When's the last time you checked that? Because I didn't check it after a little bit earlier. Let me see.
Half hour ago, I want to say.
Yes, good. Finally, the stupidest award of all time. And you know what I brought up today, Kevin? We're talking about the same thing because when we opened the show, we just couldn't figure out. It's like plus 230, plus 250, and still. And I'll say, well, look, it's, Canadians aren't going to let a German, if a Canadian wins a cup, win it because that's disrespectful, no matter what, that Connor McDavid's going to get it. And I said, Ben, me and Kevin used to talk about a time where Ohtani would go 0 for 4 at 4 Ks, and, you'd have 3 home runs for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., but there goes another 20 cents in the favor of Ohtani in the MVP race. Nothing made sense. And that was seeming like this, great assist, understandably. But this guy is scoring overtime goals in a Stanley Cup final in a series that Connor McDavid isn't scoring goals here. He's got to be the favorite, at least over McDavid. So, yes, finally some good news, Kevin. He is finally the favorite over him. Thank goodness.
What's really funny, though, Donnie, is you would imagine because it is supposed to be a full postseason long award, right?
Yes.
And people make that point, and it's obviously relevant. You have to be aware of that. But McDavid has not extended from Leon in the entirety of the postseason. They have been neck and neck as it pertains to total points, and they are now tied after Leon's 3-point game, McDavid just the one. So here's the interesting thing, though. I'm really fascinated by the Conn Smythe. I think Leon should have moved, but it's almost one of those, like, now that he's in front of McDavid, all the value's on McDavid.
Yeah, because all you're waiting for is, oh my God, McDavid scored a goal next game. Minus 600, favorite, runs away with it, just like we always thought.
Donnie,
like,
they lose 5-1 and he goes to minus 300, but he scored.
Exactly. Yep. No, they lose 5-1. He doesn't even score. It's like, yep, there we go. McDavid favorite to win it. You know what I mean? Like the complete opposite here. Like something's not adding up at this point. But like if you're not a hockey fan, you are missing out on one of the most entertaining first 4 games we've ever seen in Stanley Cup history. And like, oh, just that's what you see in the past couple of games. Like, no, we're getting a ton of goals and a ton of late goals to force overtimes and a ton of overtime goals. That's fantastic stuff to watch. So this weekend they take a breath because I believe it comes back, Monday? I want to say or Tuesday. When do they come back?
So, I actually don't know because the NBA.
Saturday night, right? Is it Saturday night? No.
I think the NBA is on Monday, Donnie.
14th, Saturday night.
Got it.
Saturday night, we're cracking. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So Saturday night, you'll be able to enjoy some action. And by the way, after game 1, I loved Florida, but I didn't take it. Plus 180 price. Should have done that. But that's show top. Like that's where I would buy in. Didn't want to buy in on the Oilers the last 2 games. Now that the Oilers won that game, I want to buy back in. I want to buy back in on Florida. They're like a plus 100 on the series around that price. Now's the time I want to buy back in on Florida. Never had the feeling that I wanted Edmonton at those price points, even though they were getting some really good numbers. I didn't think Edmonton was going to win that game yesterday. I love the fact that they won it. Because now I'm going to buy the Panthers again. How about that, Mr. Hockey?
Look at that, Mr. Hockey, indeed. Game 7 on a Friday night. How do you feel about that?
Fantastic.
I like that.
Yeah, because that's like the one night where you can suspend it all. Like Father's Day weekend this weekend, after we get done this show, have a nice lunch, relax, got Saturday off. I love the fact that there's an NBA game tonight on a Friday night. Like, that's my wheelhouse. Like, turn on the TV, stay up as late as you want, 1 o'clock if you want to, no big deal. Enjoy it, because I do have a way that I'm also going to bet that game, which we will get to tonight. And I don't even know if I'm going to take a side. I just might money line it, and you might be thinking, yeah, I'm money line the Pacers for the win. Like, I just think, like, tonight, OKC wins. And I don't even need the spread. Like, I'm just about to lay like 230 to win $100 on OKC tonight. How about that? Just give me the win. That's it. That's it.
Well, let me just say, Donnie, that would be really smart because OKC has very consistently won this 4th game in any series. They've not covered a single one of them, though.
Yeah.
So it would be it was a move I didn't make in game 4 against Minnesota. Money line was a lot cheaper.
Yep.
Excuse me. But I laid 3, didn't cover. They won the basketball game, though. So, what do you think about the total, Donnie, in the NBA?
Under tonight. Going under. 226
under series?
What do you mean?
Like, that would be a third under.
Oh, yes. I see. Okay. Games. Yes, because I equate it like this. If I think OKC wins tonight, Kevin, I don't be like, you know what? They don't care about defense. They're pushing all night. Like, when you're down in a series, what's the first thing you understand as a team, a coaching staff, and putting things together? What do you have to do, guys? Let's play real aggressive, real hard defense. That's our calling card. Things will fall into place after that. Like, I don't think OKC is like, it'll be awesome tonight. Just get into a shootout. Don't worry about your defense. Just beat them down the court, which you're not going to do against the Pacers for the most part. So I factored in, like, the correlation would be, if I think OKC wins tonight, I think it's because they were so damn good on defense. But they can be great on offense, don't get me wrong. But the calling card is, like, if you tell me tonight, right now, Kevin, the Pacers got to 117 points, OKC lost that game for me. They lost. Like, now, granted, they could win 125, 117, right? They could do that, absolutely. But that's what I look at and say, you tell, like, I envision the Pacers with 110 or less tonight, which would give me the victory for OKC.
Yeah, I think that is It's who OKC wants to be, but at some point they're going to have to realize that they need to score on this Pacers team because of how hard it is to hold down this offense.
Yeah.
And I said this after game 3. I'm not going to bet the total tonight, so I'm rooting for an under because then I can already tell you right now, game number 5, best bet. Hopefully, Donnie, like a 221.5. I'm already at the window. I'm already locked in, dialed in, ready to play.
By the way, we had Brian Fonseca on here the last 2 segments on the early line. And I think a lot of people have the same notion he does as well. Like, if Indiana wins tonight, like, Indiana shouldn't even fly back for game number 5. Like, they're going to get pummeled like you wouldn't believe, like 35-point, get out of town. And then you're like, okay, game 6 is our game. We didn't use any effort here. It's not going to get to game number 7. Here's where we'll end it here. So that's fun for me. But when I look at, like, we get to this stage in the seasons, right? NHL and also NBA, you're waiting on football, which once you get through this weekend, you're looking at 1 month away from training camps beginning at a lot of places in the National Football League, which is awesome. So you're going to tell me right now we might get a game 7 in the NBA and a game 7 in the NHL doing your job. Because it very easily, Kevin, and both of these could have been, hey, one team just runs away, game 5, game 4 or less. And like, man, we could have another 5 days at least of fun with these series. You might get it in both series now. You might be seeing game 7s here. Tonight, I do think it's an OKC night, but also I think the Florida Panthers are the buy now in the NHL. So what we do on a Friday here, love the scene. Moneyline, it's Kevin, it's Donnie. We'll be here for at least the next 45-plus minutes breaking it all down for you.
Of summer have returned and taken the field for the great American pastime.
You should monetize that.
Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
With your news flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. This update brought to you by Wendy's. The Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals temporarily blocked the federal judge's order that directed President Trump to return control of National Guard troops to California after he deployed them there following protests in Los Angeles over immigration raids. The court said it would hold a hearing on the matter Tuesday. The ruling came only hours after a federal judge's order was to take effect at noon today. Michael Madigan's stunning political collapse is expected to culminate today when the longest-serving legislative leader in U.S. history is sentenced on federal bribery, conspiracy, and wire fraud convictions tied to a scheme to push legislation in exchange for jobs and contracts for his associates. The former Illinois House Speaker was convicted in February on 10 of 23 counts in a remarkable corruption trial that lasted 4 months. Madigan will appear in U.S. District Court today in Chicago, where Judge John Robert Blakey will determine his sentence. I'm Trey Westerberg with your news flash.
Now there's a new way to take charge of your blood sugar. Introducing new Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula from the makers of the nation's best-selling garlic supplement. New Garlic helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels with clinically supported levels of garlic, plus a custom blend of vitamins and minerals. And it's odor-free. Take charge of your blood sugar with new Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to handle the busy holiday season, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
You don't have to sink a 30-footer from the end of your driveway to come out of the NBA playoffs smelling like a rose. SportsGrid brings you all the angles, insights, and odds.
And more to make you a winner.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Right back at it, chat box having fun. It's a Friday, people. Father's Day weekend here. Looking forward to it for myself. A lot of good lunches, a lot of good food out here, and also the U.S. Open, which is a rite of passage on Father's Day. Love how they set it up that way. J.J. Spawn, Kevin, with the lead here, still at -4, has yet to tee off on day number 2. How about Sam Burns, 4 under today? Victor Hovland, 2 under today. Rasmus Højgaard, 2 under today. Brooks Koepka, who had it going, back to +2 on the day, and even par for the tournament. So we have, Kevin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 golfers now at under par here. A couple of those guys have not yet teed off. Those guys under par, Thomas Dietrich hasn't teed off yet. Ben Griffin hasn't teed off yet. Siwoo Kim or Thurston Lawrence and or J.J. Spawn. A lot of carnage out there, Kevin, so far for the U.S. Open.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is that Scotty Scheffler is having a nightmare tournament. And I think for Scotty, you're going to keep scrolling. Keep on scrolling.
Wow,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Here. No,
yeah,
he's not
man.
I think I'm too far
man.
down. I think I'm too far down.
I don't know if you are.
Stop.
I don't know if you are.
Thomas way down here. I'm almost at the bottom. Hold on. Let me just get to the bottom and go back up.
Let me tell you, there's something about that leaderboard.
Yeah, keep going.
Where it's like you will always miss your guy, no matter what. You'll never
like
find
6 or 7 guys in it. It's like, man, where's my guy? And then you start to have a panic attack. You have a bet like, I didn't see him there. Like, or you scroll up and it's like, oh, he might be near the leaderboard. No, he was like 50th, pal. Let me see what you got here.
That is
Control Alt Delete. Is that what brings up the
you may just control. It's a good callback.
Oh, there he is. All right, okay. So we got him now. We got him. He is +1 on the day, +4 on the tournament, tied for 46, but would be on the projected cut line right now as we see. Now the funny part, Kevin, is we were open the show this morning. I was like, hey, Scheffler's 7 back, but still the favorite. So obviously that's no longer the case at this point here. Let me just bring up the current odds. J.J. Spawn, the favorite. Rahm was the favorite for a while this morning. He's back to 12-1, obviously doing some damage out there to himself. But we have Scheffler's still 16-1. So if he's 11 shots back and 16-1, he should be 160-1 with that price. My goodness, unbelievable.
I don't think this is going to be Scotty's tournament. I think that's fair to say. If you look down, typically he'll have one bad major a year. I think when you consider how difficult this course was going to be, that is this major. He's around -230 to finish top 20. I do not think that's worth it one bit. I think it's more likely he doesn't finish in the top 20 than does at this point in time. It's not impossible, obviously, because T21 is 2 over. So you have to kind of adjust that scale a little.
Yep,
but
you do.
You can also just tell how valuable it is today to just like keep it together, right? Like Koepka's 2 over for the day.
Yeah.
But he's inside the top 10 right now. Whereas Jon Rahm is 5 over for the day, and he's now back there with Scotty.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where this tournament winds up because I'm going to get some good looks at it today. Saying, you know what, let me see how this sets up, cut line, who's playing well, who's not playing well. You could be 4 under on one hole. Next hole, you're +5 or you're +1 because you lost 5 shots because you kept hitting it into the rough at this point. I love this. Like, I love the way that this tournament typically sets up on this. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. But just to get the people updated again, the leader in the clubhouse has not teed off yet. He's going to tee off in about an hour and a half. That's 12:52. And then 2 o'clock, the guy in second place, Thurston Lawrence. How about that name? We'll see where he comes in. But the only thing I ask for is just give me the Sunday, and it usually happens that way. Like, leaderboard doesn't look so great. The cream usually rises to the top, or at least plays average golf, where the other guys, hey, man, leader in clubhouse, J.J. Spawn. He didn't make the cut. Why? Shot like 90 today. Like, those are the expectations there. But I'll enjoy this tournament here. You going to watch it a lot this weekend? Pop's going to watch it with you?
Dad's not that big into the golf. I mean, he'll toss it on. I think he'd rather find maybe a little bowling on maybe like FS1 or ESPNU if they got it.
Is he a bowler? Does he go out with the boys?
He used
a jacket or shirt? Bowling
you know
shirt?
What, Donnie?
Leagues?
Not apples to apples, but a little bit maybe like you in golf, I would maybe say. Like it was always his thing, and then eventually it's just like I don't have time to do that anymore.
Yep.
Yeah. But he's bowled multiple 300s. I bring that up as often as I can. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Legit. You go see the plaque? Yeah. You seen the plaques
they're
at
in
the
local
bowling spot?
No, they're in the
wow.
Oh, yeah.
I see that. Now see,
right
hold
off
on.
the wall.
Now hold on now. Like this is now you're getting into something I can do for myself. What happens is you came to my house, into my studio. Like you see I got the football stuff all around, and I just had a plaque that says DRS Bowl 300. Like you couldn't disprove it. 1998 300.
Here's the thing. No? I would be able to tell because I can tell the authenticity of what we have in the house, and I'd be able to. It would just be like I bowled a 300 with a sticker. Be like, that's not checking the box there, Don.
Yep, we have to get a tattoo. Like some people run like a marathon, like tattoo it on them. Like what is it? 6? Well, what's like a half a marathon? You see the stickers on cars, like whatever.
Yeah,
What is a marathon? 21 miles, 27. What's a half
wanna talk
marathon?
about-
13
I don't know.
something. I don't even know.
Let's get to something real here. All right, stickers on
Let's go.
cars.
Yeah.
Fiance keeps telling me I need to put a sticker on my car because my
No
license
sticker.
plate is still a New York plate. That the sticker says I'm actually from Jersey. Leave me alone. Because of how New York drivers are treated in New Jersey, because everybody thinks
You
they
guys can't
shouldn't be
drive.
up here and
Yeah.
they're causing traffic.
Yep.
And I had an instance yesterday where someone just started honking at me for no good
Really?
reason.
Wow.
So I honked back despite being in front of them, and then
Yes.
just sat there and watched them the whole ride until they eventually veered off. But I was not in the mood. I was really not in the mood, Donnie. So I was ready to scream and honk and do whatever it needed to be in that moment.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like, I am so happy over the years that I haven't gotten into like road rage instances because people like have road rage all the time. You'll run into it from time to time. Your fault, maybe their fault, but somebody always like escalates. Like I had a pretty bad one about 2 to 3 years ago, which wasn't my fault at all. Which I remember coming home saying, man, I know I did the right thing, but I'm like mad at myself. And people have all been in those situations where something was about to get underhand, but you took the high road and then you got mad at yourself for taking the high road, even though you were supposed to take the high road. Like I've had that instance. This was a couple years ago, but it's funny because there's nothing worse than like the, it's like, look, the guy's in front of me. Like, I didn't do it. The guy behind me was beeping. Like, you want to tell him that because like that person's like, who are you beeping at? Wasn't me. That was 4 cars back. Yeah, road rage is wild. But yeah, we got to get you some Jersey plates. We got to get you on Bet365. There's a lot of things we got to do for you in New Jersey still, people. We'll be back. Right here.
SportsGrid. Stamping out the boredom in baseball year after year. We bring you all the angles, insights, and information you need. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1948, Babe Ruth gives his farewell to Yankee Stadium for the final time.
There's been so many lovely things said about me that I've had the opportunity to thank everybody.
2 months later, the Bambino died at the age of 52 on August 16th. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
New University of Geneva research suggests AI better at understanding human emotional intelligence than most humans.
Is this Tech Minute about something serious, or are you just really, really good at pretending?
No, 6 generative AIs actually tested 30% better than humans on standard emotional intelligence tests.
If nothing else, I'm really good at creative guessing.
Even wilder, AI generated new emotional intelligence tests from originals as useful as the ones humans took years to develop.
It's like a party where I know everyone but don't remember their name.
Meaning AI might replace human psychologists, but only when supervised by humans. For now, anyway.
My deepest fear, knowing the answer 5 minutes before I'm asked.
Follow me at Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
They overs hit in every game. I've hit all 3 money lines, all 3 totals. I was on the Panthers in game 2 to even it up at once. I took them in game 3, and now I'm going back to the oil can in game 4. It's do or die tonight. They either win or, I'm telling you, you know as well as I do, they're finished.
It's Pharrell, Coast to Coast with Scott Farrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge. The SportsGrid Radio Network. In baseball, a batter gets 3 strikes. In sports gaming, you get 1.
No do-overs.
You need all the help you can get. And that's what you get with us, your trusted source for gaming odds and more. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Back at it, baby. Right here. It's Moneylilne. It's Friday. It's the Father's Day weekend. Good stuff on the horizon. One day closer to football season. Great night set up with the NBA. We'll get to that game as well. Rye Cape in the chat box. Jersey drivers are the worst on the planet. No, it's got to be.
Whoa!
Now you want to hear my take? I tell Linda this all the time, my wife, because she's from South Philadelphia, right? So I'm like, okay, you know what? Here's what I want, because the things that get me angry, Kevin, are in the summer months. Like we have the Atlantic City Expressway, Route 42, which is basically coming off of the bridges there and goes into the expressway. It's packed to beyond belief. So I say to myself, like, and she claps back at me on some things. I go, I don't think you should be from Pennsylvania and be allowed to drive in New Jersey. Like, these are our streets. Like, don't come over here and drive down the shore. Like, you got to take like a plane or a helicopter. Like, you can't be a car on the road because all it is Pennsylvania plates, Pennsylvania plates, Pennsylvania plates. You don't live here. What are you doing here, right? Meanwhile, they probably, they have shore houses, and the only way to get there is Atlantic City Expressway. So then she goes, well, same thing then. Like, well, then you can't go to like an Eagles game. Like, you can't be across the rest. So, you know what? I might take that. Like, I might, that might be a take because I don't go to Eagles games anymore. But that's my take. Like, if you live in Pennsylvania, you cannot drive in New Jersey to get to the Jersey Shore. Not allowed to do it. Ban them.
That's interesting. I mean, everyone probably assumes that like the closest spot possible are the worst drivers possible. That's my assumption on the whole thing. I'll say this. New York traffic is unbearable. And I don't know if it's the roads, I don't know if it's the drivers, but as someone who came from that and is here, there is just a huge, huge gap. And I view that as the way to defend, I guess, the Jersey driver. But here's the thing. I understand you want to be upset, right? If someone's doing something, and if they did something and they're from New York, I was just driving, man. And I'm not getting bullied on. And here's the thing. I'm not really a road rage guy. I'm actually kind of I just start laughing, Donnie, at people. Like, I give them big smiles, which is probably a little, it's almost exactly how you would approach it, right? It's like, let me needle this a little bit. But yesterday I'm like, nah, we got a problem here. That's it.
Now, what was the horn?
Let's
for?
address this.
What was the cause? What was the perceived anger from the person?
That's the thing. I couldn't even put two and two together. It wasn't like I was driving slow. There was a car directly in front of me. I wasn't swerving. I don't have there was no issue with my lights.
Yes.
Like, so I'm telling you, Donnie, because I've seen it though. They just get hot when someone's got New York plates, and it's like, all right, well, now we got a real problem here.
Well, I see.
Now we got a real problem
that for New Jersey. Now I'm feeling kind of like I like that. Like, get out, get out New York plates. Go back to Queens. Go back to Strong Island. Go back to Staten Island. Like, do what you got to do at that point here. But here's the thing that's funny about that too, because like everybody has the same thing when you drive on the highway, like I-95, which again is the main artery that goes through New Jersey. There's the Parkway, there's the Expressway, but it's mainly the I-95. The ones that really get people, like, you want to get in trouble, hang out in that left lane, going like 65. And when you can't pass like from the right or the left, either way, everybody's going that same direction. That's where people just get hot. I'm never surprised where every day I read about road rage out here, because some things do. Like, for me, the ones that get me mad, I'm not a fast driver. Like, I've never had a speeding ticket, but I do drive fast, but not like, hey, I'm going to go 95 everywhere I go. I know where the police checkpoints are. It doesn't matter. Pull me over if you want to. But there are some times where people, like the big huff, like on the 1-lane highway, that's like a 40 mile an hour or 45, and that person's driving like 38. Boy, that gets me, because I have one road, Kevin, that takes me from my house to like where I want to go. It's like a 4 or 5 mile road, and you can't pass. Oh, you want to get me hot? That's how you do it. That's exactly how you do it.
Yeah, listen. I've seen it. I understand that if you're in that lane, you're not zooming. Because I'll tell you one thing that does happen for again, like, I've seen instances where I get it right. A New York driver, Don, is in that lane, and they're going like 73.
Yes.
Right? Speed limit 65, and the Jersey drivers are like, you should be doing 90.
Yes.
Like,
correct.
We got a problem here.
That is correct.
And the difference is,
that is correct.
Right? New York drivers are far more alert to the idea that a cop's going to pull them over than a New Jersey driver. So there's a little bit of trepidation that comes with that. And that's why a lot of times I don't even boogie in that lane now.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Again, you're getting honked at for doing 80 occasionally in that lane. It's like, I'm just going to get out of here, man. I'm going to get out of here. I'm not getting a ticket because you're out of your mind.
Get in the right. Stay out of that left lane, people. And there could be signs all up and down the turnpike. Stay out of the left lane unless you're passing. Grandma, grandpa, 68 miles an hour, figuring it's okay, causing mayhem for miles behind them at this point. That's the way it is at this point here. Just what it is here. NBA action tonight. Good Major League Baseball slate tonight with a couple upsets in the making here. Plus money. Is that the way to do it? We'll find out next. Radio Moneyline.
Playoffs.
It all comes down to this.
And we'll give give you all the angles to make sure you win a little something something. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Double elimination play at the College World Series in Omaha gets underway today. The first game has number 13 Coastal Carolina battling Arizona. The two teams competed for the 2016 National Championship, which Coastal Carolina won. Then later tonight, it's number 8 Oregon State squaring off with Louisville. Matchups tomorrow, number 15 UCLA faces Murray State. Then number 3 Arkansas takes on number 6 LSU. Stanley Cup Finals last night, the Edmonton Oilers rallied back from a 3-0 first-period deficit to beat the Florida Panthers 5-4 in overtime. The series knotted at 2 games apiece. Game 5 in Edmonton on Saturday. NBA Finals tonight, Pacers and Thunder in Indianapolis. Indiana up 2-1 in the best of 7.
Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. That's the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code MAP to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code MAP for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code MAP for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Let's keep it real.
Baseball can be boring.
That's where Sports Grid comes in.
Nothing livens up those 9 innings like sports gaming. You might experience something you've never felt in a baseball game, a quickened pulse. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The Open Championship this weekend. JJ Spawn's going to hold on. Is he the favorite, by the way?
No.
Who's the favorite? Let me get this back up here. Sam Burns plus 750. JJ Spawn second, Kevin, at a 9-1 price here. DeChambeau 12-1. John Rahm.
Did Rahm eagle?
I don't know. I don't have it on. I can't pay attention if I had
I understand that, but if you see the odds, Don, he doesn't suggest he did something great.
Maybe a good shot or somebody had him stunk it up. Where is he even at?
It says he's +3, but he maybe has another birdie coming his way or something to get him to +2.
Yeah, probably like one tight to the pin, something like that, and away you go. But we do have the NBA on tonight also, Kevin. Major League Baseball. Take a look at some of the pitchers. By the way, there's a couple good fade spots here. And the reason I bring that up is the totals for a few of these games are really low. Like St. Louis, where's that game at here? Let me just hit the dashboard right now to get these games in order. Stop. That's not it. There we go. All right, St. Louis, Milwaukee, Kevin. Eric Fetty and Freddie Peralta. Last 30 days, if I told you Eric Fetty's ERA is a 3, that's really good. Last 30 days for Freddie Peralta, 2.73. Yeah, we're going to pass on that game. Not great lineups on either sides here, Kevin, but a 7.5 total. Now let's go analytically here. You ready for that? Just told you I had 2 really good ERAs. 29 pitchers on the card today, right? So, okay, that's a decent enough amount here over the past 30 days. Minimum of 5 innings pitched. Freddie Peralta's 2.73 ERA. What if I told you he checks in at 27th out of 29 pitchers today? What if I told you Eric Fetty with his 3 ERA checks in 29th, dead last today? So 2 of the 3 bottom pitchers in xFIP minus, and both have high xFIP numbers, and that number is 7.5. It feels like to me it's just an auto play because most people will say, hey, look at those 2 lineups. They're okay. Look at those 2 pitchers, good ERA. Let me go under. But their analytics numbers, Kevin, telling us they're getting a little bit lucky right now tonight. I think it catches up. 7.5 when teams that you wouldn't usually look in that direction, I think they get the 8 runs there. I do. I think they do.
Well, I'm surprised by the Freddie Peralta numbers, though, Donnie. Usually one of, a pretty respected ace-level guy for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yep.
That's interesting. Brewers recently, by the way. It just had to trade Aaron Savali to the White Sox because he's like, I don't want to come out of the bullpen. I thought that was pretty good.
It was good because I saw it yesterday. I was like, first of all, what is even Aaron Savali of all people? Was like, I just went out and like team's probably, you better eat AA and like it now. We're just going to show you, like the Bengals would probably do. But the fact they shipped him out like less than 24 hours later and then sent him to the White Sox really got a nice chuckle out of me this morning. Like, be careful what you wish for. Man, I don't want to play for a chance in the playoffs, man. Get me over to Chicago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness.
I couldn't get to the mute button quick enough there.
I just had to duck off camera. You know what I mean? See ya. Sneeze it left and right at this point.
All right, what else you got?
Yeah, Logan Webb today, Kevin. Maybe a spot for a dog spot here. That's San Francisco. Let me just go here and take this. Let me just put the numbers in line. Webb and Yamamoto tonight, Kevin. How about this? Again, 29 pitchers on the card today. You have the Dodgers as basically almost minus 200 at some outlets. So let's go. The best number on the board is a dog price is plus 165 for San Francisco. 29 pitchers on the card. You know who's the best pitcher on the card? It's Logan Webb. Logan Webb is the best pitcher. And also, you're playing some good baseball for San Francisco. Finally got that streak snapped. They got blown up late at Coors Field last night. 6th innings, 8th innings, 9th innings, cost them. They should have won that game. But Webb comes into this at a 52 xFIP minus. 100 is the baseline, Kevin. 100 means you're being average. He's at 52. That's astonishingly good. 253 on his ERA, 201 xFIP number. Yamamoto's good. The Dodgers are better. But if you're just looking for like a pitcher performance with a really good one, maybe not take the full game, just like a first 5. Take that plus money tonight in San Francisco for me. Like, I'm not a plus money guy. I'm usually like team totals and overs. But I look at those spots and I say, makes some sense. It does.
Yamamoto coming off of a really good outing against St. Louis, which was following the pretty tough outing that he did have against the New York Yankees. So I think it'll be interesting to see how he looks in a little bit of a step-up spot there. One of the better pitchers on the slate tonight, again, I imagine, but you've got some aces, I know, out on the mound on this slate, Donnie.
You do. And one of them is Paul Skeens going to be up there at 2:20 this afternoon, just like Chicago likes to do on Fridays at home. That total, Kevin, 6.5. Wind is slightly blowing in, but Skeens is really good. But again, this is a spot where Skeens this morning was like a plus 101, plus 102. It's more of a pick-em price right now. Chicago's lineup is so good against right-handed pitchers. Yeah. But again, this isn't your normal right-handed pitcher in Paul Skeens. And he did have a little bit of a downturn, but it looks like he's certainly back to that Cy Young candidate that we think he's going to be. His last month, having an 0.74 ERA and a 67 xFIP minus number. Now, usually you say, too, it's like, well, that's fine. Like, and it might happen again today. Well, Pittsburgh gave him 1 run, so he better go 9 innings, and you hope you can score 2 runs. But the Pittsburgh lineup, Kevin, starting to wake up, particularly against right-handed pitching, which Horton is on the mound today. I see that number, and I say, you know what? I think Pittsburgh might be the better team on the mound, or better team on the mound with Skeens and better team overall, even though the Chicago lineup looks great. I think Skeens can hold them down, and Pittsburgh wakes up at the plate. So some cheap money prices on really good pitchers. That's why I'm looking today on a couple spots here.
Is Skeens the top pitcher on the board for you?
4th. He's 4th overall.
Whoa!
Yeah. Logan Webb's the best. Logan Webb's the best pitcher xFIP-wise on the board today and xFIP minus-wise. But Skeens is top 4.
Who's second and third then? Would it be Yamamoto and Crochet?
No, actually, Elder's up there. See, this is the interesting part because it's taken to effect like where you've pitched in the last month.
Yeah.
How that factors in. Also, the xFIP number goes into that, and then you just look at the ERA. Like, Skeens has the best ERA. Skeens' ERA is 0.74. It's like, well, how do you get any better than that? Just some of the underlying metrics, like strikeouts come into that, walks and stuff like that, where we know Skeens is dominant. Maybe Crochet, Elder, Skeens, and Edward Cabrera of Miami are the top 5 pitchers on the card analytically. You know who's number 6? Ryan Yarbrough. Look, you don't think that, right, for the Yankees? Wait a second. He's got almost a 5 ERA, but his metrics are fantastic. So it sort of holds up as those non-household names sort of like take over there. Another one today, Kevin, which is interesting. Gausman and Suarez in Philadelphia. Now, you know me. I'm a Phillies fan. It's roughly a pick 'em across the board. Gausman beat them up pretty good last time they faced him in Toronto. Suarez has been great, but the lineup looks really good tonight for Toronto. And if they're getting that plus 104, plus 105 like this morning, like, I love the Phillies. I think Toronto beats the Phillies tonight. How about that? And again, I don't like plus money all that much, but it's a couple spots today where you're getting close to pick 'em and or plus money. Letting it ride out at this point.
Well, I think that's the thing too, right, Don? If you can find a few, you start to say, okay, I don't need this one. I need one of these, right? And that starts to change the equation then a little bit there. So I think that makes sense. What have you? I know you've been tweeting about it a little bit, but just the Phillies' struggles in general that were really like hitting a fever pitch on that road trip.
Yeah, not getting clutch at bats, which again, teams go through ebbs and flows all season. Like the Yankees aren't like they scored 1 run yesterday and still won. That's why the Yankees are playing well, getting good at pitching. But like they're going to have bad slumps. Like the Mets aren't going to be this good all year. They'll go through a slump at that point. But it's just the same things coming back. The one thing the Phillies are really lucky is they have such an embarrassment of riches at starting pitching. Like you can almost, like Aaron Nola's not even due back for like another 2 to 3 weeks at this point. Like stay on the sideline. I mean, we got tons of flamethrowers over there that can handle it. But they get nothing. Like the Phillies have like 4 batters and then 5 dead spots. Like the outfield, like Max Kepler came in, I know, hit a home run the other day, which was great. He's been underperforming, like 215 hitter on the season. You got Marsh in center field compared with Rojas. They're worth nothing, either one of those two guys. They'll play a little bit of decent defense with Rojas. And then, of course, you have Nick Castellanos just hitting close to 300 now, playing good baseball. But you just have like wasted spots where typical feel like you watched them the other night. Like the one night they lost, did they lose? I think it was 16 hits, but 15 of them were singles. Tell me, any team has 15 hits, Kevin, that equals almost 20 runs in Major League Baseball, like with a couple power shots, doubles, and some walks in there. But the Phillies don't have an issue getting base hits now. It's the power numbers that they're struggling with, and that could be a problem. Again, Bryce Harper's out, and Schwarbaum got another one the other night, but Castellanos doesn't really hit home runs. Bohm doesn't really hit home runs. Trey Turner's starting to talk and get into a hitter, but too many spots. Brandon Stott really taking Bryson Stott really taking a step back this year. So it is what it is. They're trying to fight through that tough spot. They'll be okay, but they don't look like a World Series team to me right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think being 5.5 back, right, is just the frustrating thing this early on for a team that was, sitting there, Donnie, at 36-19, right? Yep. And now that run of games, obviously, really tough.
Goes back and forth here. Russell Westbrook, where's he winding up, Kevin? Choking on his calendar.
By the end, you might not have a ring on your finger. Stay tuned and you'll have a little something in your pocket. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Reds left-hander Wade Miley is accused in court documents of providing drugs to the late Tyler Skaggs, the Angels pitcher who died of an accidental overdose in 2019. Skaggs' former agent, Ryan Hamill, said in a deposition that Skaggs told him that he was using pain pills containing oxycodone that were provided by Miley. Skaggs died in the team hotel in a Dallas suburb. His body was found hours before what was supposed to be the start of a series between the Angels and the Rangers. The 38-year-old Miley is not facing criminal charges, and it's not the first time his name has come up in relation to Skaggs' death. The Reds had no comment on Thursday, and Miley wasn't immediately available for comment either. Former NFL wide receiver Antonio Brown is wanted on a charge of attempted murder in Miami. It stems from a shooting during a celebrity boxing event in Miami last month.
Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's, and My Lowe's Pro Rewards members can save even more with limited time deals. Right now, buy one, get one half off. Select HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams primer and ceiling paint. Plus, get free same-day delivery to your job site when you order by 2 p.m. Offer valid through 6/13, delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to handle the busy holiday season, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Springtime. When a young man's fancy turns to
Get your mind out of the gutter.
For sports gaming strategies and information that gives you an unfair advantage, you'll find it all right here.
It's the winning edge.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Bang! Right back at it. By the way, Kevin, did you know this? Kevin Sattery puts out a tweet. On this day 9 years ago, LeBron James and Kyrie Irving put together the best duo performance in NBA Finals history. In that game-clinching game, both players, Kevin, went for 41. But most people will tell you that Kyrie won that game, though. You know what I mean? So didn't need any help from LeBron.
Yeah, to be clear, that's game number 5, which got the series to go back to Cleveland.
Was?
Yeah. Kyrie hit the shot. You know what's
What they win,
incredible,
5,
Donnie?
6, and 7?
Yeah, so they came back from
It's
3-1.
because they kicked Draymond out, right? That's why they won.
Well, Draymond missed game 5.
Yeah.
Hold on, all right, you open this up just quickly because I think you'll love it.
Mhm.
I was watching, it just came up on my YouTube recommended, Donnie. The
Yes.
final 5 minutes of that basketball game number 7.
Yeah.
The Warriors, and that Kyrie shot, the way it's talked about, doesn't it feel like he hit a buzzer beater?
Yes.
He won the
over
game.
a minute to go, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was the fact that nobody scored it was the only made field goal in the last 4 minutes of the basketball game. The Kyrie 3, and then LeBron made a free throw. But here is the other incredible thing. So in the final 4.5 minutes, Donnie, it was the only made shot in the basketball game.
Yeah.
Do you know what Draymond Green's stat line was in game 7?
No.
Any vague idea?
Nope. None.
15 rebounds. Okay. 9 assists.
Sheesh.
Okay. 6 made threes, 32 points.
Draymond?
32, 15, and 9. Donnie, it's one of the great things about Steph Curry is he also wasn't going to win Finals MVP this year because it would have 1,000% gone to Draymond Green. Not even close if the Warriors held on and won the title.
I don't even remember that at that point here. It's just craziness how that, goes through at that point where it's so many games. I mean, is LeBron ever going to get back to an NBA Finals? I mean, that's tough seeing what they're saying right now. Opting out. What about LeBron opting out this summer? Is he going to force his way out? Loves LA too much? What's he doing?
Well, he seems to like LA. I mean, it's really interesting. Truly, Donnie, though, when people talk about LeBron taking less, right? I always find it a little. I don't like the idea. Forget LeBron. I don't like the idea of a player who is worth max money taking half. I think that kind of messes up the integrity of the game a little bit. But people, he's 40, so he should take half. I don't know. Do you have any strong feelings either way about the LeBron contract stuff?
No, not really. I mean, they usually take as much as they get, and it's the way it's supposed to be. It's like I always used to joke about, players in college football, like, oh, well, his parents are well-to-do. Why doesn't he just pay for his own way to school and give the scholarship to another player? Like, that'd be a really team player, right? Like, no, that's not what happens in real life. Like, you earn that. You take it. Like, that's what, hey, man, Kevin does a great job at the network. Like, what would be great? Like, I know I work 2 hours, but I'll give half my salary over for a guy who's going to be a co-host with me. Like, no, that doesn't really happen in this business. Like, you're happy with what you make as much as you can the way to do it. So, no, it doesn't factor in. It'll be interesting, though, to see what happens in the offseason, which, again, I'm thankful that the offseason isn't already beginning now. Like, all right, game 4 tonight, Kevin, 3-0 series lead OKC. Sayonara to the NBA. By Monday, we'll just be like, okay, where's Kevin Durant going and who's going to be number 1 in the NBA draft? So thank you, NBA, and thank you, Indiana.
You just gave me a light bulb moment. One of the reasons that Kevin Durant hasn't been traded yet is because we are so deep into the finals.
Yeah.
And he's probably not going to be traded until the season. Because I feel at this point, Donnie, he could easily be traded in the middle of these games. But it's probably just like, no. Let's just let the finals play out. Let the finals play out. We'll go from there. Not bad.
Can he be? I don't think he can be traded, though, until the finals are over, right? Like, the league year's not done, technically, for a trade, can you? Has anybody else been traded yet?
No, but also, I don't know. What are we going to do the thing where Shams tweets it and then the NBA acts like they're upset despite running billboards for it?
Yep, like the A-Rod deal. Got pissed. Come on. Don't you dare have any notion here. And Scott Boras and A-Rod, he's opting out of the Yankees deal. And baseball just lit that fuse on A-Rod. We told you not to do this. And, of course, they're going to report it right during the World Series at that point. But that's the way, the selfish players do it. But, yeah, would you say right now Kevin Durant already picked his team, his city, and they're ready to go? Honestly, what is he waiting? He's not saying, you know what, give me 2 months to think about it. He knows exactly the 1 or 2 spots he wants to go, and those connections have already been made.
But truly, Donnie, you know how you campaign for commissioner?
Yes.
I'd like to campaign to be on Kevin Durant's council because this guy's been getting awful advice for a decade.
Why, though?
This guy is going to just go to San Antonio or Houston and stay in the West when he could go to the Knicks next year and be arguably the best player in the conference. Like, be on the favorites to win.
I don't want him to go there.
Because you don't think it's worth it, or because they're young teams?
Yes, they're young teams that need to win on their own, and you're building something special. Like, again, Kevin Durant's not. I use the analogy, like, well, Kevin Durant, like, hey, you know what? I'll mentor these guys. So I'm coming here to get my shots up, man. You guys follow me. Like, I'm not mentoring you. Like, I just feel like he's better off. And I said, like, a Minnesota team ready to win, high payroll. Maybe we'll give it 1 or 2 more years, and then we'll have to trade everybody. Same thing with the Knicks. Like, okay, if the Knicks take them on, we're a ready-made team. We got a 1 to 2 year window. Let's see what we can do. Like, I don't look for him going to Houston or San Antonio saying, like, ooh, that's a great fit. I think it's a terrible fit, to be honest.
I think Kevin Durant fits on all basketball teams. And I think if you're San Antonio, you want to be in the postseason picture. And it seems like KD is like super cheap all of a sudden, right? In terms of what he'll cost. But if you're Kevin Durant, like, and you control a lot of this, does he not see what is there? He also wanted to be a Knick and then let Kyrie convince him to be a Net.
Yes, we want to go to the
just
Nets.
go fix it. Fix it.
Fix it. Go back to Golden State. Go back to Golden State.
He declined that, Donnie.
Come on.
He declined that.
Like, the guy would have 5 titles right now under his belt. He stays in Golden State. Ruined his whole career. Now he's a pariah. Now he's got burners. Got no more championships. Tough scene out there. Let's wrap it up next year with a little NBA Finals action, people.
We don't care what your high school girlfriend told you. You are a winner.
Or at least you will be if you keep it here.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
For anyone who's worried about back taxes, has not filed tax returns, and doesn't know what to do next, stop and listen. Not filing your taxes can have severe consequences, especially in this political climate. Now that COVID is over, the IRS is getting aggressive, massively increasing enforcement and collection efforts. With politicians making all sorts of promises, especially when it comes to taxes, hiding and not dealing with your taxes will cause you harsh legal and financial ramifications. But right now, the IRS offers forgiveness and writes off a massive amount of tax debt. The Tax Doctor offers a free service that helps people get out of IRS collections and back in good standing with the government. Don't hide or bury your head in the sand. Take advantage of our free service. Call now to learn more. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. That's 800-816-4492.
Sports Rage tonight.
How the hell do you pay all those rights for the Champions League and not put it on CBS and you put it on CBS Sports Network?
It's brutal.
It's the Champions League, guys. It's like if I'm running CBS, I'm like, hey, dumbasses, we're going to get like 6 million viewers if we put this on TV. Put it on FTV.
It's Sports Rage Tonight with Gabe Morency. Weekdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. If you want to be an alpha,
you've got to get the winning edge.
It's kind of a necessary ingredient if you want to lead the pack. So mark your territory.
With the winning edge.
You're in the big leagues. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
NBA action, babe. You know where I'm going tonight, Kat. It's OKC for me tonight. I'm buying in. I'm buying in because the public. And by the way, shout out to the public. We had our favorite public poll this morning. You know, which way would you go? +6, -6, over or under? We were damn near 50-50 on the Pacers and OKC, which I was surprised by. I thought you'd be overwhelming, like at least 60% on the Pacers as opposed to OKC. Wait a second. They're up 2-1 and they're getting 6. Where do I sign up? But I'm just reading this line into it. Like, I like the I love OKC tonight. I told you. Like, usually it's like, okay, take a -6, $50, $75, $100, whatever. I think I might just go like a unit on the money line just because I need to back this up and say, I know they're going to win. And I do think they have a possibility to win by 7, 8, 9, 10 points and cover. But I just feel like OKC wins this game. And I just want to have that stamped on there and pick up a couple dollars. And I'll pay that heavy juice. That's the way I feel.
But again, I really do believe for anybody who's not been, plugged into the way these OKC results have been going on the road. And usually I wouldn't even think to say that during the finals, but I've had conversations where people are not aware of it. They are now in this spot, Donnie, 0-8 against the number on the road with 4 straight up victories. Just to, take people through it. Game number 4, again, right at Denver, off a loss, laid, I think, 6.5.
Yep.
They win by 5. Game number 4 at Minnesota, they laid 3. They win by 2. And then both games against Memphis on the road, they were laying big numbers, Donnie, like double digits. They won those games by 6 and by 2.
Yep.
It's not a team we have not seen them, what they do at home, right? We're up 25, peace sign, goodbye. They have not done that on the road one time in these playoffs. And I think that is why, for someone like, for someone certainly like Donnie, but perhaps the better, if you bet -235 on their money line and they win this game by 14 points and you're angry about it, that's bizarre. Why would you be angry about it? You won your bet. But what will happen to you if you are someone, again, who did what I did in game 4 against Minnesota? If you lay 6 and they win by 4, it is going to bother you for weeks potentially.
Yeah, exactly.
So I totally get it, DRS.
It's like when you take the the alt parlay. It's like, this guy to get 30 yards, this guy to get 40 yards, this guy to score 1 touchdown. Wait, this guy scored 3 times. This guy had 160 yards. This guy had 140 yards. Like, why didn't? No. You cashed the ticket. It was so easy. You just went to sleep. Like, give me OKC today. Give me up a 20-point lead in the second half, which, again, I hope that's the case, but I don't think that's going to be the way it plays out. I just feel good on OKC where I'm like, you know what? I just want to take that side of things. Like, I like the 6 because just reading the line, it sort of doesn't make sense. Wait a second. It's 2-1 series lead. They just won the previous game. Why was that 4.5 to 5? Why is this 6? Give me the 6 points. And hey, you might wake up tomorrow, 115, 110, Pacers win. Like, you don't even need these points. This is the easiest free money series I've ever seen in my life. And away you go. But I just feel, for me, it's OKC. Did you look at any prop bets for tonight?
Yeah, there's a couple, Don. I'll throw one at you because it's a parlay, but I don't think you'll mind this one here.
Yeah.
SGA is coming off of a game where he did not have 5 assists. Okay. Jalen Williams is also coming off of a game where he did not have 5 assists, and neither guy has had consecutive games where they have not had 5 assists. So on FanDuel, alt assists over 4.5. I bet this last night at -106. It's now -102. So better for the people, but it's a double bounce back spot, right, Donnie? Now, again, SGA's number is higher than that. J-Dub's number is technically higher than that. I'll bring them together. They both should get there. If only one does, it's less costly. So I think it's the best way for me to play because SGA for 5 assists, Don, is like -580. There's nothing I can really do with that. So that was one of the angles that I really, really did like in that spot.
There you go. Props tonight. Props ready to go. Last game I had
also.
Go ahead, yeah.
Sorry, if I may quickly.
Yep.
Gonna hopefully be out within an hour-ish. We're gonna throw another podcast episode out, but because it's such a quick turnaround, like 15, 20-minute episode, Donnie. And I'll throw a game for best bet inside that episode of the Kevin Walsh Show. So try and get over there and download that because so far, fingers crossed, but the best bets are 3-0 through 3 games of the finals.
There you go. Big one. Heading into the weekend here. You got NHL on Saturday night, and then we take a night off on Sunday, which again, like, nothing Sunday on Father's Day weekend. That's the U.S. Open. I don't mind that. And you get right back to action on Monday night. And again, just keep extending this, man. Keep extending these series out. NHL goes 7. NBA goes 7. Let's go side-by-side game 7s here in these before we get to true football season, which is coming up quickly, man. Checking that watch. It's right around the corner. For JP behind the wheels of steel, Donnie Rightside, and Kevin Walsh, thanks for tuning in again on a Friday here at Moneyline. We will see you on Monday. Enjoy your weekend and happy Father's Day.
worth living. Actionable insights, analysis, odds, and expert perspective on sports gaming. If we do say so ourselves, this is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Oilers rallied back from a 3-0 first-period deficit to beat the Florida Panthers 5-4 in overtime. The series knotted in 5 in Edmonton on Saturday. NBA Finals tonight, Pacers and Thunder in Indianapolis. Indiana up 2-1 in the best of 7. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code MAP to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code MAP for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code MAP for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
If you want to be an alpha,
You've got to get the winning edge.
it's kind of a necessary ingredient if you want to lead the pack. So mark your territory.
With the winning edge.
You're in the big leagues. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Ben Stevens.
It's summer break around the National Football League as mandatory minicamp has come to a close, but not without its fair share of drama for us to discuss today on Football Full Circle. It is FFC, all a part of the SportsGrid Radio Network. He is Joe Lisi. That's the mastermind of the Pigskin. I am Ben Stevens. Together here on SportsGrid Radio in Sirius XM, channel 159 for the next hour up until 1 p.m. Eastern. Summer break, Joe, around the National Football League. Summer break currently at the collegiate level as well, as the guys are getting ready to show back up for summer workouts. Heck, a month from now, we're going to be having media days around the country getting ready for 2025 in college football. In a few weeks after that, the guys will show up once again after break is over in the NFL for training camp. But some drama to discuss in the AFC North on the defensive side of the ball. All of that and plenty more here on Football Full Circle.
Yeah, a lot of questions surrounding Cincinnati's defense, right? The situation in regards to their number one draft pick for the this past draft, Trey Hendrickson. Will he be there? Will he be gone? And it really hinges on potentially the Cincinnati Bengals' hopes to not just make the playoffs, but challenge for an AFC championship. So we'll see what transpires. We did get some glimpses of training camp or the mini camps that have opened up. We saw Pete Carroll and the Las Vegas Raiders having some fun. Yeah. Everybody's excited. There's new optimism surrounding Las Vegas. And this is where you have a gauge, right? We see the offseason odds. Prop markets have been put into place for a multitude of positions, quarterback, running back, wide receiver. We saw those markets and we talked about them yesterday. But again, this is what you want. You want to be able to pick off value in the offseason prior to training camp. And we'll see how it plays out over the next couple of months.
And we'll talk about that Raiders rookie running back, the 6th overall pick, the Heisman runner-up in Ashton Jeanty, who is expected to add a trophy to his mantle during his rookie campaign in 2025. We'll talk about the Raiders and Jeanty in just a little bit. But, of course, Joe, the big story this week at Mandatory Minicamp is attendance, right? Who is there, and maybe more notably, who is not. And for the Bengals, yesterday, as I'm sure you and Scott broke down, some big news in Cincinnati. Shamar Stewart still having an issue with his rookie contract and some legal language and wording in that deal with the Bengals, who had been at voluntary OTAs and had been in attendance at minicamp, just not participating in workouts, drills, and team activities, left minicamp early yesterday. Head coach Zach Taylor was asked about it. said basically the right things. I've had positive communication with Shamar Stewart. I'm not going to predict what happens with his contract situation. I am focused on our team and who is there. But Lisa Guy, it seems as though the Shamar Stewart saga in trying to sign his rookie deal has taken another turn for the worse in Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I understand, you want to protect the assets and you want to protect your career as it relates to injury and the wording and the language, and I get that. But at some point, you have to be checked in or you have to be checked out. And at the end of the day, you still have to prove yourself if you're a first-round draft pick. That's the biggest question mark, right? The longer that you hold out and the longer that it takes to understand the playbook and the defensive scheme, it could hold you back, especially in year number one, right? And understanding the situation with Trey Hendrickson to not get Stewart in camp and involved in terms of practices and game speed and practice reps, that's a cause of concern for the team as a whole. Again, this defense was bottom third of the NFL in multiple categories. And in order for them to challenge for a championship, and that is the goal of this team, it's not to just make the playoffs or be above 500. They have a roster that can compete with the Baltimore Ravens, Buffalo Bills, and the Chiefs, but they need that defensive talent on the field. And right now they're at a disadvantage heading into minicamp.
I think it's a great point, Joe, right? There is the football perspective of a young rookie missing out on valuable practice time in and around the organization. And of course, what is really up for debate here, the contractual perspective as well. Now, maybe you have heard us mention this story. Maybe you have seen it or read it in other places, and you're asking yourself, what's the big deal? What is that wording in the contract that Shamar Stewart and his reps are taking umbrage with, that they have an issue with? Basically, the Bengals are trying to add what is known as a default clause, which would void any future guarantees based on a variety of things, but of course, in the dangerous game that is football, most notably injuries. Your second follow-up question then might be, well, do other NFL teams have the same wording in their rookie deals? And in some cases, the answer to that is yes. But Shamar Stewart's big issue with it, Joe, and you do understand where he is coming from, the previous first-round picks from the Bengals, including last year Amarius Mims on the offensive line, did not have this blanket default clause that would cause him to miss all of his future guaranteed money. So Shamar Stewart is basically saying, you didn't used to have this verbiage put into these contracts. Why are you trying to institute it now? And it really does speak to the issues that many have had with Cincy's front office and the management of this organization. Of course, the founder of the Bengals was Paul Brown, who passed it down to his son, Mike Brown, who has had Duke Tobin be his director of player personnel for the better part of 2.5 decades. And Mike's daughter, Katie Blackburn, is the executive vice president, who is kind of at the forefront of these contractual negotiations. So if you look at how the Bengals have conducted business, you might point and say, nepotism is afoot, and this is the issue we take with not really welcoming the player to your organization, trying to nickel and dime here and there.
Well, yeah, and it is a business. It's a business on both ends, right? It's a business on the organization standpoint, where if he does get injured, we don't want to pay the guaranteed money. And on the flip side, if you're the player, hey, I warrant that because I'm worth a certain amount of value to the respective club. So that's what we see, the jockeying back and forth. This is why I actually used to love college football. That's no longer the case because we have similar circumstances as it relates in college now being more of a business because there's bigger and better dollars. There's contracts tied to this. Yeah. And this is what happens. Unfortunately, you have a situation that potentially could set a precedent for future organizations and for a team like the Bengals that have nickel and dime their players and their star players, not just middle of the road players. We're talking about T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and how they handle those type of situations. And obviously what they're playing in terms of Trey Hendrickson, Stewart's camp wants to say, you know what, we want to nip this in the bud and we don't want to start on a bad foot. And I understand that. But again, at some point, it's a little bit of a give and take on both sides to get to a resolution. And hopefully that's sooner rather than later, because again, the longer that this situation plays out, it's just going to, lure and bear on the team. And that's a chemistry perspective. If you can't count on Stewart contributing for 2025. What are we doing here?
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. And that is really what it comes down to, right? From an actual football perspective, one of the additional wrinkles of this conversation is Shamar Stewart's not a running back. He's not a wide receiver, where the Bengals are, of course, very deep and have paid their best players. He is an edge rusher on the defensive side of the ball, where the Bengals have been lacking. And, Joe, you are spot on, right? This also really should not be a thing, though, in a rookie deal. Trey Hendrickson wants a new contract because he believes, and we all do, he deserves it. So he is asking for more and more money. Based on slotted rookie deals and how things work now, if you are a first-round pick, it's not Shamar Stewart and his agency saying, hey, you're only paying us $20 million. We want 25. It is a fixed amount. It is the contractual wording for these default clauses that is the issue at this moment. So that's the scenario, Joe, with Shamar Stewart. We'll talk a little bit more about Cincinnati, and then we'll hear from Mike Tomlin as well about what he had to say on the contract situation surrounding his star edge rusher who is not at minicamp. Of course, that being TJ Watt. All of that and plenty more up next on Football Full Circle.
4 out of 5 scientists agree it's smarter to be on SportsGrid, and we're pretty sure that one scientist is still a virgin.
He just gives that vibe.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
With your news flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. This update brought to you by Wendy's. The Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals temporarily blocked the federal judge's order that directed President Trump to return control of National Guard troops to California after he deployed them there following protests in Los Angeles over immigration raids. The court said it would hold a hearing on the matter Tuesday. The ruling came only hours after a federal judge's order was to take effect at noon today. Michael Madigan's stunning political collapse is expected to culminate today when the longest-serving legislative leader in U.S. history is sentenced on federal bribery, conspiracy, and wire fraud convictions tied to a scheme to push legislation in exchange for jobs and contracts for his associates. The former Illinois House Speaker was convicted in February on 10 of 23 counts in a remarkable corruption trial that lasted 4 months. Madigan will appear in U.S. District Court today in Chicago, where Judge John Robert Blakey will determine his sentence. I'm Trey Westerberg with your news flash.
Now there's a new way to take charge of your blood sugar. Introducing new Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula from the makers of the nation's best-selling garlic supplement. New Garlic helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels with clinically supported levels of garlic, plus a custom blend of vitamins and minerals. And it's odor-free. Take charge of your blood sugar with new Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to handle the busy holiday season, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
There's something you should know and always remember.
SportsGrid does not increase luck.
We're your unfair advantage for the latest sports gaming information. If you're looking for luck,
go find a horseshoe.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Ben Stevens.
Live right here on Football Full Circle. It is FFC. He is Joe Lisi. I am Ben Stevens. Plenty to break down here on Football Full Circle. So Shamar Stewart remains unsigned with the Cincinnati Bengals. Trey Hendrickson did not show up to minicamp either. Lisi, we have entered now what is considered summer break. The next 5-6 weeks around the National Football League, the offseason program of guys showing up for rookie minicamp following the draft, voluntary OTAs, and now mandatory minicamp the past few days this week. That has all come to a close. Next up, it's preseason preparation and training camp at the end of July. If I asked you to peer into your crystal ball, knowing where the contract and negotiation standpoints are for both Hendrickson and the rookie Shamar Stewart, do you expect to see either guy right away during training camp for Cincinnati?
No, unfortunately, I think the situation with Stewart could linger potentially upright until week number 1 of the NFL season. I really think they're stuck in the ground. Again, if a player is really involved and wants to play, he's going to play, right? And again, Stewart has held off everything up until this point, not being involved in any capacity. He's showing up at camp, but he's not partaking. Again, he's trying to show that he's doing the right thing, but either you have a desire to play immediately or that's it. And so that's why I think his situation will linger until week number 1 before potentially they sign on the dotted line. For Hendrickson, it's more about money. And knowing what Cincinnati already laid out for T. Higgins and obviously Jamar Chase, and knowing what they did to Joe Burrow in terms of that extension and signing, this is a different situation. I think they might field offers potentially for Trey Hendrickson and see exactly what happens. But at the end of the day, I think that Trey Hendrickson has a 50-50 shot whether he's on the roster come week number 1.
And Joe, of course, he is looking for a new contract. He has said that the conversations are at an impasse between his representation and that Bengals front office. There are not many new negotiations happening as we speak. Basically, the Bengals and Hendrickson are not speaking either. So after that, he also demanded a trade earlier in the offseason. If he was not going to be granted a new deal, he wants to go somewhere else where his services are respected. We'll see if that picks up at all during this summer break. The Shamar Stewart situation is different, right? They're battling for a clause. They are not haggling about money, a couple of $1,000 or $1 million here nor there. So we'll see if that can get rectified in the next 5 to 6 weeks before the Bengals rookies show up for training camp. If you are a Cincinnati backer, you certainly hope that to be the case. Lacey, it still remains a thing where I think both you and I agree that we expect the Bengals to get off to a better start this year. We know the offense is going to be prolific and frankly might be forced to be historically prolific with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. And we both kind of believe that Cincinnati, despite all of these off the field and contractual issues and what it might mean for what was a porous defense last year, that still, to this day, the Bengals can be a 10-win football team and a playoff team in the AFC. But their ceiling really outside of reaching the postseason doesn't go much higher than that. They are not going to be a conference contender because of these defensive issues. Is that fair to say still?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, to your point, they could outscore teams just the way they did last year and be a 9-8 football team, but actually making a legitimate run at an AFC championship. That defense needs to take another step and get out of the cellar and be a middle of the road pack with or without Hendrickson, with or without Stewart. I don't care how you do it. Just get it done. I don't care if it's a bunch of high schoolers out there. They have to find a way to create turnovers and not give up 30 points per game, right, where Joe Burrow has to throw for 400 and 500 yards just to outscore the opponent. So we'll see what the new scheme is with Al Golden at the helm. Does it change in any capacity outside of what they had? And let's not forget, when they made the Super Bowl run, their defense carried them at some point. You know, their defense shut down Pat Mahomes in an AFC championship. They forced turnovers in a playoff type of environment. That's why they were able to go toe-to-toe with the LA Rams and Matt Stafford and be within striking distance. They're not going to be able to do that this year, knowing the defenses and even the offenses that they have to compete in terms of the AFC. How do you shut down Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Pat Mahomes if your defense is giving up 30 points per game? Just not going to happen.
Yeah, I know, and that's really the point, Joe, right? And when you think about it, your defense can be mediocre, slightly above or below average, and you can still find a way to win football games. Heck, the Bengals had the 7th worst scoring defense a season ago, allowing 25.5 points per game. They had the 8th worst total defense, allowing damn near 350 yards per game throughout the entirety of their 18-week regular season, and still were above 500, right? They were 9-8. So you can be a little bit better than that, maybe outside of the bottom 10, but maybe in the bottom half of the league. And yet, that's probably where your cap is. Maybe a playoff run, but probably not a contender against the best of the best. You could probably be above average, Maybe you don't have to be top 5, top 10 in every category and still be a true Super Bowl contender. But if you're in the bottom half, Joe, in a multitude of defensive categories, that's probably your limitation.
Yeah, and think about this, right? We don't expect them to be the number 1 seed. So that means going on the road, and you might be able to pick off one team the way they did the Buffalo Bills in Orchard Park, but being able to really compete at an elite level to say, you know what, we have a legitimate shot to win a championship and a Super Bowl title depends on your defense being at least middle of the road. 15th. We're not asking for a lot out of 32 teams, right? Be right in the, you can't be 30 out of 32 or giving up 400 passing yards to Russell Wilson and the Pittsburgh offense that was only averaging $175 down the stretch. You can't get sliced and diced by Lamar Jackson both games. You're not going to go anywhere. Again, you might be able to pick off one opponent in a playoff environment. Expecting to do it in 3 or 2 straight games, very difficult.
Yeah, it really is. We'll continue to go around the NFL with a focus on the AFC North. TJ Watt and his contract situation with the Steelers. Of course, his longtime head coach, Mike Tomlin, says he remains optimistic that the deal with Watt is going to get figured out here very, very soon. We'll talk more about that next on Football Full Circle.
There's smart.
And there's not smart.
Not smart is hope as a strategy. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Keep it here.
And win. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1948, Babe Ruth gives his farewell to Yankee Stadium for the final time.
There's been so many lovely things said about me that I've had the opportunity to thank everybody. Thank you.
2 months later, the Bambino died at the age of 52 on August 16th. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
New University of Geneva research suggests AI better at understanding human emotional intelligence than most humans.
Is this Tech Minute about something serious, or are you just really, really good at pretending?
No, 6 generative AIs actually tested 30% better than humans on standard emotional intelligence tests.
If nothing else, I'm really good at creative guessing.
Even wilder, AI generated new emotional intelligence tests from originals as useful as the ones humans took years to develop.
It's like a party where I know everyone but don't remember their name.
Meaning AI might replace human psychologists, but only when supervised by humans. For now, anyway.
My deepest fear, knowing the answer 5 minutes before I'm asked.
Follow me at Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
The over's hit in every game. I've hit all 3 money lines, all 3 totals. I was on the Panthers in game 2 to even it up at once. I took them in game 3, and now I'm going back to the oil can in game 4. It's do or die tonight. They either win or, I'm telling you, you know as well as I do, they're finished.
It's Pharrell, Coast to Coast with Scott Farrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge, the SportsGrid Radio Network. There comes a point when the chips are down.
To coin a phrase.
When the only thing you can do is stop and wait. Do you want to face that moment prepared?
Or rely on luck?
Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Ben Stevens.
Live right here on Football Full Circle. It is FFC. He is Joe Lisi. I am Ben Stevens. Lisi guy at mandatory minicamp this week. We have talked about the players who were not in attendance. One of them notably also an edge rusher who plays defensively in the AFC North, that being TJ Watt for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is in the final year of his contract and hoping for a new deal. His head coach, following the close of minicamp yesterday in the Steel City, saying, we are confident, we are optimistic that this situation is going to be resolved rather quickly. There's some bad blood, right, between Trey Hendrickson and the Bengals. The Shamar Stewart situation, different than any veteran who has proven it, asking for a bigger contract. Joe, it doesn't seem to be a tenuous situation in Pittsburgh by any means. despite Watt not being there for minicamp.
No, again, the big picture, I think TJ Watt is going to be there. I don't think that's going to curtail, Pittsburgh from a defensive perspective. I think the sooner that TJ Watt does get into the building and the organization can only benefit this team as it relates to team chemistry. But expecting this team right now to elevate to an AFC championship strictly hinges on their quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Can he elevate to an all-pro type of level? That'll make or break their season. We know TJ Watt, when it comes, to a defense or a major stop, he's the guy that changes the whole complexity of the game. Not as maybe dominant as he was, in previous seasons, had a little bit of a tail off towards the end of the regular season last year. But at the end of the day, Pittsburgh's defense depends on TJ Watt being happy and being in that lineup. When he's out, that defense is completely different, Ben.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Joe, right? And Aaron Rodgers will be the difference to see what the ceiling is for the Steelers this season. But even with a rotating cast and crew of rather mediocre or maybe slightly above average quarterback play the last few years, the Steelers have been a playoff team. Why? Because of how good that defense has been. They have been a top 10 scoring defense each of the previous 3 seasons. In the last 2, Pittsburgh has won at least 10 games and made it to the playoffs. TJ Watt, a huge reason why. Finished runner-up in Defensive Player of the Year voting in 2023, led the NFL in sacks with more than 19. And Joe, still last year, 4 forced fumbles. That was the most in the NFL. He is still an agent of chaos going after your opposing quarterback and in that opposing backfield. So just from the contract perspective, to maybe have a better context of what Hendrickson and Watt are asking for, 3 edge rushers now, Joe, around the NFL make $35.5 million per year annually. The biggest bumps and increases we have seen in salary have, of course, come at the quarterback spot and all the inflation we have seen as the salary cap continues to rise and rise. The wide receiver spot and the edge rusher spot. You could argue maybe the 3 most impactful positions in the current National Football League landscape, at least that have seen that in terms of their contract. Myles Garrett, $40 million per year. Danielle Hunter with Houston, $35.6 million per year. Max Crosby, $35.5 million per year. That is the AAV, the annual average value from a salary perspective. Those 3 guys, Joe, all signed these lucrative contract extensions this offseason, really since the beginning of March. So that's pretty a recent time frame, if you will. TJ Watt is making just north of $28 million per year as it stands. He's 31 years old. Myles Garrett's 30. Max Crosby's 28. Danielle Hunter's 31. So it's not like he's past his prime. I would assume that TJ Watt is going to get in the ballpark of that $35 million.
Yeah, I mean, and you think about, moving the needle and marquee names and what it means to the Pittsburgh Steelers as a whole. And you're not just paying them for last year's performance. You're paying him for the body of work and what he means to the Steelers organization as being potentially a face for the franchise when they haven't had a marquee quarterback, right? So that's where you say, okay, is he going to be as elite as Myles Garrett or Max Crosby? No, but could he be slightly under or in that area? Absolutely. And would that make TJ Watt happy? Most likely, yes, right? The biggest thing is you want security when you're a player like TJ Watt. You want to win a championship, but you want to get your money because you're at the end of your career or you're slightly regressing per se, and you want to be compensated, obviously, to get that and get you through the next 2 or 3 seasons. So that's what we're looking at here. Do we believe he's as dominant as Myles Garrett? No, but he's still deserving of the money.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Joe. And by the way, Trey Hendrickson, who has had 17.5 sacks each of the previous 2 seasons, and, of course, led the NFL in sacks a year ago, only making $21 million a year. That's why he is hoping for a substantial raise as well. More on Football Full Circle comes next.
The Winning Edge.
You've got it.
But not everybody has it, because not everybody listens to us.
But we're working on that.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. Stanley Cup Finals last night, the Edmonton Oilers rallied back from a 3-0 first-period deficit to beat the Florida Panthers 5-4 in overtime. The series knotted at 2 games apiece. Game 5 in Edmonton on Saturday. NBA Finals tonight, Pacers and Thunder in Indianapolis. Indiana up 2-1 in the best of 7. Double elimination play at the College World Series in Omaha gets underway today. The first game has number 13 Coastal Carolina battling Arizona. The two teams competed for the 2016 National Championship, which Coastal Carolina won. Then later tonight, it's number 8 Oregon State squaring off with Louisville. Matchups tomorrow, number 15 UCLA faces Murray State. Then number 3 Arkansas takes on number 6 LSU. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters or condo with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Find what you love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Walk right through the door. It's all here to explore. With guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Drink responsibly, B21.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
You're listening to SportsGrid.
Spreading the winning edge far and wide.
Terrestrial, internet, TV, satellite, and don't forget our mobile app. Face it, the winning edge is everywhere.
Somewhere there's a squirrel frustrated he can't get a phone.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Ben Stevens.
Live right here on Football Full Circle. It's FFC. He is Joe Lisi. I am Ben Stevens. So, Lisi guy, elsewhere around mandatory minicamp in the NFL, we have talked about some players hoping for new deals. For the veterans, where there doesn't really seem to be bad blood or anything out there in the press and reports about two sides being very far off or a schism, like the Trey Hendrickson situation in Cincinnati, we expect TJ Watt to sign soon, get his money. Terry McLaurin, who is not at minicamp, to sign soon and get his money with the Commanders. There's also some younger guys that we think are in line for a contract extension. Their second deal in the National Football League. Michael Parsons was at minicamp with Dallas. Jerry Jones operates on his own timeline, so you're not entirely sure when that next contract might be paid. But two other young stars were also there with the New York Jets. Both Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner were in attendance this week, Joe, at mandatory minicamp. Their first under new head coach Aaron Glenn. Sauce was asked about his contract scenario following practice yesterday and about his attendance. He said, listen, quote, I'm bought in. I know the deal will work itself out. So some of those guys looking for the second deal, that first contract extension, showed up to minicamp this week.
Yeah, I mean, Sauce Gardner, tailed off towards the end of the regular season, right? In the early part, was a dominant corner, especially in that game against the Minnesota Vikings overseas, and then tailed off when the team had an interim head coach. So again, with a new head coach in Aaron Glenn, you want the younger players involved. And again, this team has optimism. I know from the, just the book's perspective and how we view the New York Jets as a whole, 5.5, not a lot is expected because of Justin Fields, because of Aaron Glenn, and because of how high we put this team last year because of Aaron Rodgers, right? But they failed miserably on multiple levels, organizational standpoint, and just being, a team and a chemistry. They did not have it. And then that defense that was supposed to carry them tailed off in the end of the regular season. So again, right now, Sauce Gardner is an integral part of that defense, and I like this team as a whole. Again, I think he has a bounce-back season. I believe in Justin Fields, and I believe in Aaron Glenn being a young enough head coach and a guy that actually gets it to coach this team up to at least be a 7 or an 8 win football team.
Yeah, I agree, Joe. And there are, I would say there are teams that you are more optimistic and confident about moving forward this year than maybe the market. 2 teams with a win total of 5.5. You talked about the Browns earlier this week. They have the worst win total in the NFL, 5.5 hefty juice on the under. The Jets are one of 2 teams around the National Football League with a 5.5 win total, but some juice on the over. Of course, the New York Jets are riding a 14-year NFL playoff drought, by far the longest in the National Football League, the longest in any of the major 4 professional men's sports leagues currently in North America as well. And in 7 of those 14 years, even with Aaron Rodgers, half of the previous 14 seasons, they have finished with 5 wins or fewer, a 5-12 football team last year. But I would just say, Joe, maybe it's the attention and the notoriety off Gang Green. Maybe it's some of that pressure off Gang Green. And frankly, it's Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback that was okay, but did not deliver the winning that everybody thought he would, where there was a lot of optimism around this Jets team because of a young core before the addition of Aaron Rodgers at the quarterback spot, both defensively and some of those stars on the offensive side, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, the list goes on. It's an interesting kind of dichotomy now for the Jets, where they do not have nearly as much expectation as they did entering the previous 2 years, at least at this stage of the offseason, and maybe still are feeling better about themselves because they can play with this lack of pressure and freedom.
Yeah, and from a defensive perspective, this team was looked at as potentially one of the better ones in the AFC, right? And their defense held it together in the first half of the season prior to Robert Saleh being fired after the loss to Minnesota. From that point on, they fell off a cliff. So the talent is still there defensively, and now you add Justin Fields. You mentioned Breece Hall. They add Josh Reynolds. They get Mason Taylor, which I believe is one of the best route-running tight ends in this draft class that can produce from a tight end perspective. You add in Aaron Glenn, a defensive coordinator and a former player for that organization that is bought in. I mean, we're not asking this team, Ben, to be 12 or 13 wins. We're asking them to be at least 6-11, which if they had above average quarterback play in the beginning part of the season, they would have had that already.
Yeah, they would have, Joe. It's a really good point, right? That could have been the case for this Jets team. We'll see how Justin Fields fares. Of course, you and I are both big believers in Justin Fields. We still believe that he can get the job done. Maybe at the levels we once hoped that he could. We're not entirely sure. But we do hope that to be the case, at least for a successful 2025 campaign with the New York Jets. Michael Parsons at minicamp for the Dallas Cowboys as well. Of course, Joe, where all these guys are in their career, having spent 3 years now in the National Football League, they are all eligible, maybe Michael Parsons 4 years, but they are now all eligible to, of course, have that contract extension. Once you are 3 years into your rookie deal, you know then that you can sign a new contract. And, of course, your rookie deal runs for 5 years if your team picks up your option entering that 4th season, and that has already been determined. So, from a financial perspective, you might be thinking, well, they might be under contract for 2 more years. What are we even discussing when it comes to paying them out? But it's the idea of paying them early, financial flexibility. You pay before the market updates. You pay them a lot. You can balance it out over the final 2 years, Joe, of that rookie deal as well, where, of course, they are all playing at a discount for what they have been in the NFL.
All right, and you don't want to be into a situation potentially where your backs are against the wall in a similar situation with Daniel Jones, where they really had to make a determination, is he worth the $40 million or do we move on? And they were stuck in the middle and just made an impulsive decision that set the organization back for how many years potentially. So that's the thing when you re-sign these rookies that are on 5-year deals, but you re-sign them after 3 years. Now you're getting ahead of the curve. We recognize the talent. We recognize the progression, and we want to sort of get that ahead of the curve so that everybody's happy and we could move on with one of our star players.
Yeah, that's the thought, right? Everybody should be feeling good. This is the off season. It should only be for the hype train. It should only be for optimism. That's how they feel right now, Joe, in Las Vegas with the rookie running back in Ashton Jeanty, who was selected 6th overall, the earliest we have seen a running back go in the National Football League since Saquon Barkley went 2nd overall back in 2018. Of course, Ashton Jeanty was a record setter, the 2nd most rushing yards in a single season in the history of FBS college football a year ago. Finished runner-up in the Heisman Trophy race to Travis Hunter, and currently, Lisi Guy, is that favorite to be the offensive rookie of the year around the NFL. A plus, well, they used to have that price up there. Where is it on Ashton Jeanty? There it is, plus 250, 70 cents in front of Cam Ward, of course, the starting quarterback in Tennessee. Here's what his new head coach in the desert, Pete Carroll, had to say about their rookie running back. He caught the ball well, understood stuff, took everything seriously, and gave terrific effort throughout. We made a big deal of him. Everybody's watching you, and he embraced the thought of it. And so it's going to be exciting to see what happens. Ashton Jeanty, Joe, at least to start, pretty optimistic rookie beginning of his mandatory minicamp.
Yeah, and again, we know about Chip Kelly. He changed his stance a little bit. That's hopefully more productive on the next level. And think about Pete Carroll and his success in Seattle. When they made it to the Super Bowl, they had Marshawn Lynch, one of the best workhorses in the NFL. That's the hope with Ashton Jeanty in year number 1.
Yes, it certainly is, Joe, and we'll see what Jeanty is able to put up. The reason Jeanty is favored in front of Cam Ward is Cam Ward not expected to play for the best team this year in Tennessee. We'll discuss that up next, and then we dive into some college football as well here on FFC.
We're not saying every SportsGrid listener is a legend, but you might start thinking about who's going to play you in the movie. Just saying. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
With your news flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. This update brought to you by Wendy's. The 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals temporarily blocked a federal judge's order that directed President Trump to return control of National Guard troops to California after he deployed them there following protests in Los Angeles over immigration raids. The court said it would hold a hearing on the matter Tuesday. The ruling came only hours after a federal judge's order was to take effect at noon today. Michael Madigan's stunning political collapse is expected to culminate today when the longest-serving legislative leader in U.S. history is sentenced on federal bribery, conspiracy, and wire fraud convictions tied to a scheme to push legislation in exchange for jobs and contracts for his associates. The former Illinois House Speaker was convicted in February on 10 of 23 counts in a remarkable corruption trial that lasted 4 months. Madigan will appear in U.S. District Court today in Chicago, where Judge John Robert Blakey will determine his sentence. I'm Trey Westerberg with your news flash.
If there's one thing we know about dads, it's that they're not easy to shop for. Enter Kohl's. They've got everything from Nike golf gear to his favorite Levi's jeans. And you can save 20% on other finds like Flex Athleisure and Izod workwear. So if you're not sure what to get dad for Father's Day, you know where to go. Shop Kohl's now. Select styles. Offer ends June 15th. Some exclusions apply. Coupons do not apply to Nike and Levi's. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
Attention passengers, we've reached 10,000 feet and internet is now available for purchase.
I just paid hundreds for this flight, and you can't even throw in internet? I'll just take the free pretzels.
Sorry, but I do have snack boxes for sale.
I'm just gonna sleep.
In that case, we are selling pillows and blankets as well.
I'll just breathe. That's free, right?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Remember when you were thankful you could just get AM and FM?
Things have progressed.
Now even an app on your phone can give you a 21st century thrill with that little drop of heaven called
the deposit notification.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Ben Stevens.
Live right here on Football Full Circle, it is FFC. Joe, Ashton Jeanty has a shorter price to win Offensive Rookie of the Year in the NFL, plus 250. The running backs number as compared to Cam Ward, who was the first overall pick for the Tennessee Titans at the quarterback spot, plus 320. We haven't heard much about Cam Ward. throughout minicamp in Nashville. Year number 2 under Brian Callahan, which can be a good thing, right? So much conversation during Cam Ward's draft, not as his coronation or the prince that was promised, this talented prospect that was generational, and we all knew 5 years ago would go first overall, and yet we do have high hopes for what Cam Ward can be. But, Joe, it might sound funny to say that a running back is favored to go in front of a quarterback to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, because as it pertains to awards and hardware and odds, if a quarterback can win an award in football, NFL MVP, Heisman Trophy, it is normally a quarterback designation. They invented the Offensive Player of the Year basically because they were giving it to quarterbacks far too often at the MVP award. So it is a weird thing, Joe, to have a running back in front of a QB, especially knowing the last 2 years we have seen quarterbacks go back-to-back in winning this award in a landslide. Jaden Daniels a season ago, C.J. Stroud the year before that. But this has not often been necessarily a plug-and-play quarterback award. The 2 years prior, a wide receiver, Jamar Chase first, and then Garrett Wilson. One of the reasons, Joe, is because when you are a quarterback, even if the numbers are okay, if you're playing for a bad team, the win and loss record might not be enough to sway the voters from that narrative. Of course, C.J. Stroud and Jaden Daniels put together not only historic statistical rookie seasons, but led their team to very, very high heights. NFC Championship game berth for Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. In an 11-6 record, C.J. Stroud led the Texans to double-digit wins in the AFC South divisional crowd. You need some of that team success to match the individual if you are going to be a rookie quarterback taking home Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, team success and putting up numbers, and that's why you mentioned Stroud and Daniels, right? You get to an NFC championship and you're knocking off the number 1 seed in terms of the Detroit Lions and elevating and progressing week after week after week. That's what, people want to see in terms of the Rookie of the Year. And again, are you compiling against, under 500 teams, or you're beating some of the better teams in the conference and having dynamic performances? And I think when you look at Ashton Genty being the front runner and you look at Cam Ward might be able to put up statistics. We'll see if he can get it done in year number 1. But the expectation for Tennessee potentially is, again, a 2 or 3 or 4 win football team. And again, you're not going to win the Rookie of the Year, in my opinion, unless you do it with team success. And you look at Jaden Daniels and you look at C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud, knocked off Indianapolis at the end of the regular season. He knocked off Joe Flacco and the Cleveland Browns in dynamic fashion, and then obviously bowed out in the second round of the playoffs. And Jaden Daniels, went toe-to-toe with some of the best defenses down the stretch and elevated and knocked and handed the Philadelphia Eagles are potentially only their second loss on the season. So again, that's what you got to do in order to win this. If Ashton Genty rushes for 1,000 yards, but Cam Ward gets them to 9-8, most likely Cam Ward will probably be Rookie of the Year as long as the stats are there, Ben.
Right, absolutely so, Joe. And you do believe, right, if Cam Ward is historic statistically, that only benefits the Titans. But I think there are a lot of questions, of course, about this Titans organization under head coach Brian Callahan. Really did not get a full picture of what he could do last season with Tennessee, right? In his first year as a head coach. We'll see what that means here in 2025. By the way, Cam Ward and Tennessee's win total is 5.5. The over has a small bit of juice at -130. All right, Lisa Guy. Elsewhere, as we keep it rolling here, we've got some new win totals posted in college football. Basically, every FBS conference, including the independent former Pac-12 schools, with what we think the Pac-12 might be a recognized FBS conference moving forward into 2026. They are awaiting the addition of an 8th football member. We all think that will happen soon. There's been rumors of a new Pac-12 TV deal that will be announced. We've also got the conference championship odds out for all 9 FBS leagues. The favorites in the American, John Sumrall in Tulane at +290. They're ready for a big year. CUSA Liberty remains the favorite at +140. In the MAC, Toledo plus 260. Ohio at a 3-1 number, and Buffalo had a great year, plus 480, third best price. And we talked about Ashton Genty. His Broncos still a minus money favorite to win the Mountain West at minus 135. In the Sun Belt, James Madison plus 320. Texas State has been one of those rumored potential Pac-12 expansion schools from a football perspective. But Lisa Guy, let's start with Boise State. College football playoff run a year ago. They were the 3 seed. They won the Mountain West. They have won the Mountain West 2 consecutive seasons. And not only are the Broncos favored to win the Mountain West Conference Championship once again, they also have the best national championship price of any group of 5 program. Of course, if that's going to be the case, and they will be the highest ranked G5 champ, they're back in the college football playoff for a second consecutive year.
Yeah, we'll see if they could do it again without Genty in that lineup. And Maddox Madsen has to step up and potentially take over the passing attack. We'll see if he can do it. UNLV is interesting, though, at plus 650 with Dan Mullen coming back, taking over for Barry Odom. We know they have a run-heavy offense, very physical in the interior lines. Minus 135 for Boise State to win the Mountain West doesn't really appeal to me. I like some of the plus value. Even San Jose State, without Nash, their big play wide receiver, plus 750 isn't a bad price.
Yeah, it's a really good look, Joe. I really am excited to see what Dan Mullen does this year at UNLV. He is a coach that has coached at the highest level. He knows how to get it done. We'll talk a little bit more about college football coming up after the break. I got to head out. They're doing some interviews in studio, or so I've been told. Joe Lisi will take you home on the other side. I'm also on vacation next week. So, Lisi, guy, I'm going to miss you. Be good. Hold down the fort here on Football Full Circle.
I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss you. Bon voyage. That's it.
Luck is winning the lottery. Strategy is settling your divorce before cashing in the ticket.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channel dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Moneylilne at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Imagine combining the exciting investment opportunity of cryptocurrencies with the power of artificial intelligence to maximize your IRA, 401k, or other investment funds. Listen, if you're looking for ways to accelerate your retirement growth, Block Trust IRA has market-leading strategies and solutions for all levels of investors, from $1,000 to millions. And they partner with Bitcoin Magazine's #1 crypto trading fund in the world to maximize your returns. Plus, their team of IRA specialists is here to help you roll over your IRA or qualified retirement account to the new world of cryptocurrency investments. So make this free call right now to set up your account and learn more.
800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. That's 800-434-5313.
It's stark but true.
You can either listen to SportsGrid for strategies, odds, and more, or you can pay your bills by digging in your couch cushions for change.
Just be sure to wear gloves.
Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Ben Stevens.
All right, back on Football Full Circle. Ben will be gone for a week. It'll be me and Scott Wetzel breaking down the NFL and college football. Ben brought up the group of 5 odds. I'll jump into some of the odds just from the Power 4 conferences. We talked about Clemson, and Ben's pick likes the Tigers at plus 125. I actually like Louisville at plus 750. Ben also liked Georgia Tech. I think it's worthy of Drones and Brent Pry at a 30-1 number for Virginia Tech. Schedule perspective, you look at this team last year, they had an 8.5 win total, didn't really live up to expectations, but now with the pressure off, a 30-1 number isn't bad. You look at Bill Belichick and North Carolina down from 40-1, right in the area of 39. NC State a 40-1 number. Fran Brown and Syracuse, we know about the quarterback position in terms of that situation with Kyle McCord moving on, but this is still a team that got it done in the regular season, knocked off Miami to keep them out of the playoffs. 41-1 number right now entering 2025. Big 12 conference is where I think there's some value. Right now, Chris Kleiman and Kansas State, the front runners at 6-1. Utah, 6-1 as well. Now, it's interesting to note when you look at the teams that have moved on, obviously from the Pac-12 to the Big 12, teams like Utah and Colorado and their transition, right? You look at just what this team with Kyle Whittingham have done. Cam Rising no longer there. Blue-collar team, they were picked to win the conference last year, dealt with injuries, couldn't get off the mat. They're still right there at the second best price, but there's some other value. Texas Tech, you know how I feel about Joey McGuire and the program as a whole. They're taking in more money. They have better facilities. Morton, their quarterback, comes back, and it really hinges on that defense. They had one of the worst secondaries in all of college football last year. They got abused by Arkansas in the bowl loss. They're going to hinge on that secondary and what they could get out of the running back position. Let's not forget Taj Brooks moves on to the NFL. They were a productive group when they ran the football and worked off of play action. When they had to rely on Morton as a whole, that's where they had some issues. But still, you look at value, plus 650 isn't bad. Arizona State, again, in the area, 650. We know Cam Scatterbo moves on to the New York Giants, but it doesn't matter. The most impressive fact for Arizona State, why they challenged Texas, wasn't just Cam Scatterbo and Sam Levitt, their returning starter at the quarterback position. It was that front seven. They were much more physical than a majority of the teams in the conference. They shut down very physical offensive lines. Teams like BYU down the stretch, they held Texas in check to under 2 yards per carry in that semifinal playoff loss. If Dillingham and that defense step up again this season, they do return, I believe, 7 starters to that unit. $650 is a very good price for the Arizona State Sun Devils to challenge for a Big 12 championship. The other team that I'll mention is Sawyer Robertson and Baylor. From an offensive perspective, the Baylor Bears really broke out at the end of the regular season. They put up 30-plus points in the bowl loss to LSU and Brian Kelly. This was a team that came on. Dave Aranda had the bullseye on his back for much of the regular season. He was dead man walking, but saved his job last year with that type of performance. Sawyer Robertson could be the most prolific quarterback within the conference this year, and they could have one of the most explosive offenses in all of college football. You're talking about a 7-1 number. You could talk about a progression of what we saw a couple of years ago with Sonny Dykes and TCU. Keep an eye out for Baylor in terms of the Big 12 this season. Big 10, I'm not buying Ohio State. I know Ryan Day was able to get it done, but multiple question marks offensively and defensively. The most notable is that their defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, is now coaching on the sidelines in Happy Valley. Can't buy into Ohio State. Big picture, when you lose your starting quarterback, you lose both running backs. It's a potential new scheme. That's a huge cause of concern in buying in to Ryan Day and Matt Patricia in terms of year number 1 at a plus 180 price. Where is their value? Are you buying Penn State? I'll just say this. Forget Penn State to potentially win a national championship. If you believe in Drew Aller, if you believe in James Franklin, Katron Allen, and Nick Singleton, from an offensive perspective, you buy the 260 price to win the Big Ten. There is no better value than Penn State to get it done in the conference. It's do or die for James Franklin. We'll talk more college football and NFL next week on Football Full Circle. For Ben Stevens and Danny Ohlers, I'm Lisi. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you next week.
You found the advantage for gaming, odds, and more. But we call it the winning edge for short. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.